In this video, you are going to learn how to identify, trade, and become profitable with the two-bar setup. It's simple, effective, repeatable, and profitable not just for me, but for thousands of my students every single morning. It's the same setup that I traded live in front of thousands of people and made thousands of people thousands of dollars today.
How much did you guys make on that trade? 512, 199, 250, 690, 900, 626, 600, 130, 900, 850, 2K, 375, 340. Let's go!
It's the same setup that I recognize and trade nearly every single morning, and it's the same setup that after this video, you are going to comprehend so well that you can implement what I'm going to teach you as soon as tomorrow. And all I ask in return is you tap that like button, tap that subscribe, and join me for free live trading, where I trade this system every single morning, live in real time, daily on my main YouTube channel at JDunTrades. I'll put that link in the description. Trading is tough, trading is hard, but it doesn't have to be complicated. And this strategy is the opposite of complicated. So let's get started. Now, every single morning, I have the same routine. I'm going to mark out where is my pre-market high and where is my pre-market low. So today, I marked out pre-market high and then I marked out pre-market low. That is the first step to my trading day, to my system. Second, we're going to let the market open and we're going to wait the first 15 minutes every single day. So we let price open. We want to gauge exactly where price may want to head. So now, after these first 15 minutes, we now have our first 15-minute opening range in. We're going to mark the high of that range, and we're going to coat that in green. And then we're going to mark the low of that range. We're going to coat that in green also. Now, in this opening range, we can identify a two-bar setup. What that looks like is when we have a trend-setting candle in the trend direction with a full body, as we see here, and we have confirming rising volume on the 5-minute time frame. Now, once we identify this setup, we then want to pinpoint our entry. That is where our Fibonacci retracements come in handy. Now, the point of this strategy is to catch more trend moves without a deep retracement. So we're going to take our Fibonacci retracement tool and mark from the high of this trend-setting candle to the low. Now, when we do this, we get our 50% to 0.618% retracement, and we also want to take into account any key levels. In this case, we have a whole psych number of 800 right around this level. So I'm going to look for a pullback into this zone where we can move up, catch the lower high. We're going to set our stop loss if we get our entry above this trend-setting candle high, which is 840, meaning that if I get an 800 area entry, I have 40 points of risk on this trade. I'm always looking to visualize and identify my risk first. We are risk first, profit second traders. We always want to protect the downside because we know over time the upside will come if we can protect our risk first. That's where DOD comes in. When you can choose discipline over dopamine every single morning in your trading, you'll lose less and make more. So that's exactly what we do. This next candle up, we get our entry. This was the entry that I took live in real time. I enter around 800. I get my shorts. I set my hard stops here at 840. So I know the worst case scenario is I have 40 points of risk. Now on this trade, if I have 40 points of risk, if my risk is 40, let's move this up. If my risk here is 40, that means that my gain needs to be a minimum of 40 points to equal 1-to-1 risk reward. Now that's the absolute minimum that I want out of any trade that I take, meaning that if I have a 51% win rate, I'm profitable. If I have a 70% win rate to 80% win rate, which it typically stays at, I'm very profitable. In most trades, I want to see more than 1-to-1, but the point I want to make to you is that you can't become profitable with negative risk reward. So if you're constantly seeing green and taking green, or you're constantly taking profits because nobody went broke taking profits, you're never going to actually become profitable because your losses will outweigh your winners. And I know some of you feel that to your core. So given that our entry is 800, we need to see a minimum of 760 to even think about trimming this position. So we get the entry, we set our stops, and this is where the 2-bar setup comes into play. We see an aggressive move down. We get a really nice trim at low of day, and at this point, this is where we set our stops. We move them to break even, and we let this trade ride. Now, we got the setup here. We got our retracement of 50% of this candle, and we aggressively continue to move down. Now, this also makes for a second 2-bar setup here. So before these two candles happen, just pretend like these don't exist, we see this aggressive move down, rising volume, full body candlestick to the downside on the 5-minute time frame. Here, I would look for a retracement back up 50%. And on this, if we would have gotten this setup, right, we retraced to here around 690 to 700. We'd put our stops above this trend setting candle high, meaning that we had about 30, 40 points of risk. It's also above the 15-minute low, which means we have more edge and we have more validation that this is a valid stop loss. Unfortunately, we don't get this pullback back up, but if we did, this is a setup that I would take most of the time. Let's continue. We see us move down, and we're waiting for another retracement to get another setup. Still nothing. Still nothing. Now, here, what do we notice about these two candles? We have an aggressive volume candle, aggressive push down, which means our sellers are still in control. So at this point, I'm going to look for a retracement back up. If I believe in this trend, which at this point I do, I'm going to look for a move back into this zone right here, around 560 area. Your stop would have to be above the 604, so you have about 40 points of risk. Look for a retracement here for a move down. If you have 40 points, you need at least 40 points again to make this risk reward make sense. Let's see what we get. We move back into the zone. You enter here. Stops are set. Now you let the trade play out. We wait. We wait. We get a move down to 500. That's about a little over 1 R. We get a little more continuation on this next candle down. As you can see here, down to about 480, which is over 1.5 R. And at that point, if you took your trims, you'd have to set your stops to break even. So if we end up trending back up, you don't get caught in a green turned red trade, which will often happen if you don't have your stops set, especially when you see this. Whenever you guys see a reversal candle that looks like this, aggressive green candle, aggressive volume, a lot of times you'll see that pull back into this candle, make the higher low, and then move on up. You guys see the pattern yet? You can base your trades off the 5-minute time frame and oftentimes see where price wants to head and catch good trend moves without massive retracements on trend days or on potential reversals. You have to be willing to trade smart, trade safe, and ultimately choose DOD. That's what I preach to you guys every single morning. You trade smart, you trade safe, you choose DOD, you don't rush the process, you don't succumb to your emotions, you're going to be in good shape. The 2-bar setup allows for us to continue to catch A+ setups and trend moves without constantly missing out on different trends. I appreciate you guys supporting me. I appreciate you guys using code JDUN. I will always do my best to help you guys pass, as you can see here.
If you use code JDUN and I helped you pass your evals, type pass in the chat. Beautiful 200-point trade today. Pass, 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 pass. Code JDUN gets the best discount, payout protection, and I help you pass too. No one else is doing that. Nobody, baby. Nobody. That's DOD. I got you.
People use code JDUN, they get paid out, and they get payout protection. Trade smart, trade safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless.